The El Dorado Eagles are entering week 2 of the 2020 high school football season. Led by head coach John Long, they'll be facing the Winters Blizzards. Now, both teams are 0-1, but they're both non-district plays. This week 2, they won't begin district play until week 4. But John Long says that he hopes that the team will improve defensively, especially when it comes to tackling. Now, offensively, they have a young offensive line core, meaning that they'll have more experience as the season goes on, and he's hoping to take this win tonight. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to KSAN News. It is Football Friday. I am Mark Brown, your host, and I have the head coach for the El Dorado Eagles, Coach Long. Coach, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. And I realize today, it is week 2 of high school football, and you guys are coming off a tough loss to San Saba. So how do you feel going into this game?
We had a great week of practice. I think we learned from our mistakes. We're looking to give a little more effort, tackle better, block better. But we're really excited for this challenge from Winters, and I really feel confident that our guys are going to do better this week than we did last week.
Perfect. And plus, especially going off a 56-14 loss to San Saba, they're one of the top 10 teams in the state, correct? So when you look at that leading into Winters, so obviously this opponent's not going to be as difficult to play against compared to last week. And then this is all non-district games. So whenever you guys, I guess, what is the level of confidence you guys have into these non-district games? Like, would you still consider them extremely important compared to district games, or?
Well, in my opinion, our district schedule is pretty tough, but I think it's going to prepare us for hopefully a district championship run and then going into the playoffs. And so I welcome the challenge. Everybody we've got scheduled are good teams. Playoff caliber teams, and so we're excited for it. I think we're going to find our team from these opponents, and we're ready for the challenge.
Speaking of being ready for the challenge, so would you say it's more challenging offensively or defensively for you guys?
Right now, our defense is probably a little bit ahead of our offense. Some new terminology that I brought in. It's very similar to what they used to do with Coach Johnson, but there's some different tweaks here and there. As a coach, you really kind of want your defense to be a little bit ahead of your offense because you want to peak. You don't want to peak too early. So we're a little behind offensively and when it comes to that. Our O-line and our D-line, for that matter, because they're the same kids. They're pretty young, so that's why I like these kinds of challenges early on. So to kind of get those guys rolling.
That's actually a good takeaway. When you have young guys on the line, that means you have a future ahead. So that means you can develop these guys, going into their junior or senior year, regardless of their classification. So when you look at that, when you look at the defensive side, what are some of the weaknesses you guys have, and how do you plan on working on that?
Last week it was tackling. Yeah, so we had issues with tackling, but we've worked on it a lot this week. We got great reps during practice, so. Tackling, and it's just kind of first year kind of things, the beginning of the year kind of things that you got to work out. You got kids that were freshmen last year on the JV that now are getting varsity experience and things like that. The speed of the game is different, so that was a shock to some of them last week. But it's learning experiences, and that's what I told our kids.
And would you say that your special teams are looking good so far?
Special teams weren't bad last week. Coach Castleman does a great job with those guys, and we want that. It's cliche to say, but we want that third facet of the game to be stellar, and it's going to be a difference maker. It could be this game tonight, it could be any of them later on, but we're going to work all 3 phases of the game always. Perfect.
And what would you say the number one thing you have right now when it comes to motivating your team, especially leading into the game tonight, which is going to start in about a couple hours or so? So what would you say you guys need to work on the most for this game, and how do you expect to execute it?
Blocking and tackling, catching and running. I mean, it's I don't know any other way of putting it. It's pretty easy. That's what football comes down to, and we get the O-line guys rolling, I think we'll be fine, and we'll have a great year if we do.
Sounds good. Again, this is Coach Long for the El Dorado Eagles, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Coach, and good luck.
Thank you.
Back to you, Rachel. Now, the Wall baseball team faced the Kirbyville Wildcats in the state semifinals, and this was their second trip to the state tournament for the Hawks. The first one was back in 2017. Now, out to the Dell Diamond. This is the first game of the day. Now, on the bottom of the second, it was 1-0 to Wall. Kai Herbert rips it to right. Sutton Hurst comes home, and the Hawks are up 2-0. Take a look at that. And on the top of the 6th, tied at 3, Ryan Goley is in to pitch for Caleb Hurts. And this is the first pitch to Hunter Wallace, and he will hit it out to the corner in the left. Justin Harriott scores. Now 4-3 Wildcats. And towards the bottom of the 7th, this is the last chance for the Hawks. The bases are loaded and 2 outs for Jake Jansa, and he draws ball 4. Goley scores to tie the game, headed to extras. And now going to the bottom of the 9th, runner on for Gage Weishun. He singles up the middle to score Hurts, and the Hawks win in walk-off fashion, 5-4 in 9 innings. That was pretty quick right there. And next up, the Angelo State Bells are getting ready to face Midwestern State in the first round of the LSC tournament. Knowing the two teams have already battled each other during the regular season, the Midwestern Mustangs won 76-64. The Bells lost on senior day 2. So this game is a way for them to take advantage with a win at home. And Nate Harris is saying what they have to do differently this time around against the Mustangs.
We have to have an earlier commitment to getting the ball into D. That game, it took us too long to get her going. She didn't get a touch for long chunks of the first quarter, and we just got to find a way to get her the rock earlier. We didn't feel like senior day went the way that we wanted to. We didn't play the way that we wanted to. So to get a chance to get, one more look here in front of our home fans and get to stay in our own beds and do that before we host them, we thought that was a big deal, and we're excited to get one more home game. Not to steal too much from Jackie Moon, but we got the San Angelo, Texas Mega Bowl here Tuesday night at 6:30. We need as many fans as we can get.
The 2019 UIL Track and Field State Meet kicked off at Mike A. Myers Stadium in Austin, Texas, with some chilly weather for May with temperatures in the mid-50s. It looked ineffective as the top athletes still ran blazing times, especially for the senior superstar standout Matthew Boylan out of Strake Jesuit in Houston, Texas. Let's take a look at his historic performance. Starting off for the 100-meter dash, Boylan broke the state and national record, running a 10.13. The previous state and national record was set way back in 1990 by Henry Neal out of Greenville High School, running a 10.15. Boylan also competed in the 4x4 100-meter relay, running the anchor leg, and won the gold medal for his squad after a 3-second comeback. Now, Matthew Boylan was in second place by the time he got the baton, and he came back. So that was a blazing 44.74 split time, according to FlowTrack.com. And that's it for sports. We will be back right after this. One of the disadvantages a new head coach faces when taking over a program is having a short period of time to get to know and work with their new players. Fortunately, with the new UIL guidelines for summer workouts, coaches like Miles Jason Wilhelm are getting more time than ever to prepare for the upcoming season. The Bulldogs wrapped up their first week of workouts and practices under Wilhelm today. He's inheriting a young team with a lot of potential in a district where the level of competition is always consistent, and so far, he likes what he's seen.
I just want to see good attitudes with the kids, come out here ready to work, and we definitely had that. I mean, they've been excellent for the 3-4 days we've had them this week, and good participation, lots of kids out here, and yeah, really it was kind of our first day to get some kind of work a little bit of football. The expectations are to have a good attitude and learn what we're doing. It's going to be a little bit different, but we're trying to keep it as simple as we can right now. Just want to see a lot of effort and grow from there. Obviously it's not mandatory, but to get to the level that we want to be at, it's very important for our guys and girls to be here. And so far here it's been excellent. So it can still be better, but it's been great.
The past 3 months have been strange to say the least. Sports in general barely exist, but some things are returning to normalcy, one being the return of high school football. The Bobcats have been back at practice since Monday. By now, they would have already had their spring game and been well into the off-season workout program. Thankfully, to make up for the missed time, the UIL is allowing summer workouts to happen Monday through Friday. Here, Brent Davis on the importance of having sports back and the goal of these workouts.
It's important to these young people, it's important to this town, and it's important to our country, I think, to get some semblance of sports back. It's a rallying cry for people. It's just to me, sports is the best thing we have in society that brings people together. And when we have it back to normal, I think it's going to do wonders for our country, I hope. We're doing about 45 minutes of football every day and just reintroducing, but they really haven't. We haven't lost much of that, they retain quite a bit of it, and We got a veteran team, you know, and we've been here 11 years, so those things are really an advantage right now.
Last week, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell admitted the league was wrong for not listening to players and now encourages them to speak out and peacefully protest. That statement came in response to the Stronger Together video, where multiple players called on the league to take a strong stance in the wake of George Floyd's death over the next 10 years. The NFL is pledging $250 million to help fight systematic racism. The league said the money will be allocated to a fund that will also support the battle against historic injustices. The NFL said it will also use its television network and other media properties to raise awareness to promote education of social justice issues and foster unity. Stick around. Aaron will have a last look at the weather after this. The 2020-2021 school year officially started for the San Angelo Independent School District earlier this week. The beginning of a new school year also brings football season back to life. The UIL gave all 4A schools and below the green light to start on time, while 5A and 6A schools will start next month. Lakeview High School head coach Hector Guevara is doing what he can to keep his players safe in the Texas heat.
As far as the heat, we've been going in the mornings this past 2 seasons, so that's kind of been helpful. We hydrate the kids as much as possible, and we give breaks, and in between drills and stuff like that. So.
As far as COVID-19 safety protocols, Coach Guevara is making sure his players are constantly following health guidelines issued from the UIL and the CDC. Some procedures players follow, such as using hand gel in between breaks during practice and wearing masks with their helmets off, is a top priority. So far, the players are paying attention to every detail.
We're doing the best, following the SISD guidelines and UIL guidelines. We have gel. We disinfect everything out there after we use it. As far as sleds, footballs, everything.
Coach Guevara says every locker room will be thoroughly sanitized while they travel to away games. The coaching staff and players will practice social distancing and wear masks inside the bus as well. This process will be repeated all season long.
Things will change. It's a fluid situation, so we'll just keep updated with everything they send us, and we'll continue what we're asked to do. And like I said, we'll just keep an eye out if there's any other changes as we go.
Teams will take care of each other throughout the season in order to slow the spread of the virus. Mark Brown, KSAN News.